And so now I'll just go through some numbers, but none of these numbers need a spreadsheet. They're kind of very simplistic numbers. So the way the Coke model works is the Coca-Cola company produces concentrate and syrup. So let's go back to the point where there's just one product, which is Coca-Cola. We won't go through the 100 brands they have right now, but let's say there's only one product, Coca-Cola. They produce concentrate and syrup. The syrup gets sold to bottlers around the world, and the bottlers then produce the Coke cans and bottles that you see in supermarkets and everywhere else. And the Coke company also sells the syrup to various fountain operators. So like Burger King and McDonald's and so on, where you can buy fountain drinks. So there are two models, right? So there's the bottling model and then there's the fountain model. And, or let's say a restaurant and such. So the way the bottling model works is the Coca-Cola company does not set the price of a bottle of Coke. It lets the bottler do that. So they can pretty much set whatever price they want. What it does do is it sets the price for the syrup. And what it does do, just like Warren did on January 1st with See's Candy, is on January 1st, they bump the price of the syrup nonstop. And we're doing it for 100 years. And so the simple economics is that if you have a can of Coke on sale at Costco or wherever, you might get it for about 25 cents, 12-ounce can. The 25 cents, the Coca-Cola company gets around 6 cents, 6 or 7 cents of that comes to the Coca-Cola company for the syrup. And the rest of the, let's say, 18 cents or so is shared between the retail outlet that sells it and the bottling operation that produces it. And so the bottlers is where a large amount of CapEx is happening, right? Because they've got all these bottling plants, they've got all these trucks, they've got drivers, they've got all the distribution going on. The Coca-Cola company just needs a few plants around the world to produce syrup. So, and the number of people they need to do that. So when Warren and Charlie were going to make the investment, the Coca-Cola company had 17,000 employees. All the bottlers had 500,000. So the CapEx is on the bottlers. And so this is See's Candy on steroids because you don't have any retail. It's kind of like it reminded me one time I was visiting Microsoft. I think this was like probably 15 years ago. And they used to sell their operating system to, for example, Dell. So Dell would install Windows on all the machines. So I was talking to one of the Microsoft engineers. I said, so do you guys like send the CDs to Dell, and then they, when you buy the computer, you get the CDs and such. They said no. Or the floppy disk, they said no. He said, we give them one copy, and then everything else is their cost. Okay, so Microsoft wasn't even willing to spend the money on the disk. Even that they dumped on the PC makers, right? So that was it was even better than the syrup business. At least Coke has to provide syrup. In the case of Microsoft, they just provided the bits once, and then they charged you on the bits, which is why it's such a beautiful model, and Mr. Gates is the wealthiest person on the planet. And so it's very funny, like he said, he looked at me like I was dumb as a doorknob. He said, what do you mean I'm going to send them CDs? No, I'm not going to send them CDs. I'm going to give them one copy. And then he told me that once it got to streaming, we didn't even send them a copy, we just streamed it to them. Not going to send them a single copy, right? And so in the case of Coke, it's not quite Microsoft. They still had to sell the syrup. But what they did is they came up with one more enhancement where they got to concentrate. So the syrup had sugar in it. So what they did is, and it had water, and what's the point of shipping these heavy things? So they actually improved the model to just giving concentrate and telling the bottler, add so much sugar and add so much water, and now you got the concentrate, you got the syrup. So they even took it down one level further. So you take the 25-cent can, the Coca-Cola company gets about 7 cents. The cost on that is basically next to nothing. It's sugared water. They're not even paying for the sugar. And the bulk of their, they spend about 10% of that on advertising, and approximately about 25 or 30% of that number is pre-tax profits. So that's basically their model. That's on the bottling side. Now, when you get to the fountain side, things get even more exciting. So when you go to a restaurant and you ask for a Coke, they don't charge you 25 cents. What do they charge you, Alex? Couple of bucks. Yeah, so that 8 or 12 ounce serving is now 12 bucks. The Coca-Cola company is giving it to the restaurant at probably, I don't know, 15 cents or something. And they are very benevolent, and they let the restaurants make a lot of money on the Cokes. And so what happens in that format is the restaurant loves Coke. Is the highest volume, highest margin product of anything they're going to sell, right? And people want it, and people ask for it by brand name, etc. The ones that don't offer Coke and they have Pepsi, they have to ask you, would you like a Pepsi instead? And you kind of say, oh, okay, it's fine. I'll take the Pepsi, take a bullet for the team. So the fountain sales model, if you think of the ecosystem, everyone makes money. The restaurant makes a lot of money. The restaurant's very happy. The bottler that converts the concentrate to the syrup makes money. They're very happy because they deliver it. They do the last mile stuff. And the Coca-Cola company is obviously very happy. So both these models work really well. And just to give you kind of a sense of the capex differential, before they made the investment, these numbers have gone up quite a bit since then, but in scale they're correct. So all the bottlers were spending in the mid 80s about 1.3 billion in capex every year, and the Coca-Cola company was spending 160 million, approximately like 12% of what the bottlers were spending. So most of the volume, most of the benefit of all of this went to the Coca-Cola company. And then you look at, Warren has obsessed over the fact that there was, Branson had started Virgin Cola, and then there was Sam's Choice, and there were all these kind of private label type colas. And they studied that, and bottom line is that none of those ever got any traction. So why didn't they get traction? Well, number one, the personal space, the mouth, you're not quite sure about Sam's Choice, even though you like Sam Walton. And the second is the economics, they can't really undercut. So if you think about a 25-cent can, well, the reason it's at 25 cents is because of global scale. This is a global company selling at a huge volume. I mean, they're buying aluminum at a huge volume, all those things, right? So you try being even Walmart with whatever volumes Walmart has, and then you try to get customers to not buy Coke and buy Sam's Choice. How much can you undercut Coke by? They've got about 2 cents that they're making on that 25 cents as profit. And the bottler is probably making another couple of cents. So you've got about 4 cents. So once you if you had the exact same cost as the Coca-Cola company, if you were at 21 cents and Coke was charging 25 cents, you would make no money, right? And if you didn't discount versus Coke, who would buy Sam's Choice? How many of you consume Sam's Choice? Does it even exist anymore? Does it exist anymore? I've been to Walmart lately. Does Sam's Choice exist? Alex, you haven't kept up? No. All right, so, but in Costco, I don't remember, maybe you guys know, because I don't pay that. Does Costco have a generic cola? Do they sell? No, I don't think so, right? Do they have? Oh, so is that the store brand? Yeah, so they've got some private label, but they've got the big containers. Okay, who drinks Refresh? Is it cheaper? And do they have a cola? Okay. All right, so you see that, so what they found is that if a competitor tried to come in and the store tried to do a private label or whatever else, they really couldn't undercut them because the economics just wouldn't allow it. So